Hello there. Today I'm going to show a command
from networking called Ipconfig. So you can click Start and search for CMD. I need to right click and run as administrator, or else some of this stuff's not going to work. If you got XP or 2000, you can just click the run box and do the CMD. It'll be fine there. So the command that I want to show off is Ipconfig. Ipconfig tells me about my network connection. It shows my DNS suffix, my IP address, my subnet mask, my default gateway. If I had more than one network card, it would show up. Since this is Windows 7, it shows this tunnel adapter and this tunnel adapter. And some of the commands switches you can run are ipconfig/all, which tells a lot about my machine, like its name, its domain, MAC address, IP again. It says preferred here because if I had more than one network card, one of them would have to be the preferred. Generally, that's the way of the internet. Other information as before. So anyway, that's ipconfig/all. So let's say I've got the wrong IP address, then I can do ipconfig/release, and that will get rid of my IP address, and I can do an ipconfig/renew, and that will cause me to pick up a new IP address. It'll query the server for one. I got the exact same thing. So another problem is, well, there's also, since this is Windows 7 and there's Vista came out with this as well, there's ipconfig/release6, which will release my IPv6 address. We're not using that here in the States, so there's not a lot of use for that. Not around here at least. And renew 6. And hopefully one day we'll get around to doing that. But another important command is flush DNS, because sometimes whenever I go to a website and the network's down, I get an error message. Well, my computer will remember that it had an error message, and if I actually fix the networking problem and ask for it again 5 minutes later, my computer goes, "No, that website's broken. Don't you remember?" So what I have to do is, well, let me ping google.com, and then that'll get something in my cache. So if I do a ipconfig/display DNS, you can see that I've been to Google. But if it doesn't work and my computer remembers that it doesn't work, then I have to do what is ipconfig/flush DNS, and that'll flush my DNS cache. So ipconfig display DNS shows nothing. So sometimes when you go to a website and the website doesn't work and you fix the networking problem, you'll have to flush your DNS before your computer will actually try to go back to that website, or else it'll just remember it didn't work before. It's kind of like it's still no record. But if I come over here and do an ipconfig/register DNS, there we go. So let me depressed, kind of a sad sack, I guess. Another important thing is register DNS. Register DNS is if the server forgets who you are. So let me go over to the server here, and I want to go to there's my host A record. I'm going to right click on it and delete it. So yes, if I right click and refresh, hey, and look, the server knows who I am now. Alright, well that's great. Another cool trick involves DHCP. Let's say you've got users that are spending way test, and I want to do too much time on the internet. Well, you can force them to get information that is false, or you can force them to use certain DNS servers or just about anything. So this is my DHCP scope. I want to right click on IPv4, and in Server 2003, of course, you don't click on IPv4. I can't remember exactly what it is you click on, but it's probably the server itself, one of these things. And you right click and you define a user class. So we're going to add a user class named test. T-E-S-T. T-E-S-T. I got to put a binary number in here. I don't really remember why. But, okay. So we got a user class named test. So let me come down to my scope options. Right click, configure options, advanced, user class router is going to be 10. So apply and OK. So shows test class. So what I need to do is come to my machines, the ones I'm trying to prevent from going on the internet and watching too much YouTube or whatever. I type in Ipconfig, get the name of their network connection, which happens to be local area connection. Type ipconfig / set class ID, the name of the area connection, and of course it's called test. So now I need to do ipconfig, and you can see now my default gateway is 10.0.0.68. Sometimes you'll have to do that class ID. Actually, I can just hit the up arrow and then take that test off. It should set it back to blank. Yeah, shows my default gateway is 10.0.0.255, and I can do ipconfig